welcome back to your Capstone. And today we're going to talk about the regulatory check on your product. And this is essential because it's one where there's no point in saying you're going to make a product to identify then that there are multiple regulatory barriers to you being able to successfully launch your product. It's not that I do not want to encourage you to innovate within the regulatory space. And again, if someone really wants to push that, I'm open to having discussions. That's what your one-on-one meetings with me are for. However, that said, if you are able to work within the regulatory environment, that is going to make your life a lot simpler. You likely did interim marketing authorization work with SABI in your regulatory class, and I encourage you to reflect on that. However, I believe most people and their concepts will be straightforward. But that said, in the regulatory check on the product, I'm looking for a comprehensive search through the regulations so that you can identify if there are any barriers or any opportunities within the regulatory environment for you to successfully launch your product. Allow me to, as I'm sitting here in my living room, think about a lovely muffin. Now I have nibbled it. If I spin my muffin around, oh yes, I've been eating it. But let me use a lovely high-protein chocolate chip muffin as an example for your regulatory check. Let's pull up what we're looking for in this assignment. So a regulatory check on a product concept. You do want to make sure that there are any sort of barriers that we'd be looking for, that we have identified and cleared them beforehand. So let's say my product is a high-protein chocolate chip muffin. And just for amusement's sake, I'm going to say I would like it to be organic. So, is my product subject to standardization? All I need to think, is it a commodity? Is it meat? Is it dairy? Is it eggs? No, it is not. Are there standards of identity for muffins? I do not believe so, but it's the sort of thing that I should be looking up in the Food and Drugs regulations. For certain products, if you recall, there are standards of identity that need to be met. Muffins, I guarantee you, do not have that. Are there formulation considers? So let's say, for example, I wanted to use calcium propionate in my muffin to give it an extended shelf life. Do I need to double check in Division 16 if I can use this technical ingredient in my product? As I mentioned, I want to make a health claim on my product, so I may need to be looking up the ability to make a protein claim and what is necessary for that. I also said that I wanted it to be organic, and so I do need to remind myself what is available. In terms of resources, again, I want to recommend that you use the Food and Drugs regulations. And so do make sure that you are accessing the most recent version. There's a reason I do not download it and have it on Blackboard. And that is so that you can make sure that you are accessing today's version. The Food and Drugs regulations change on a routine basis. Secondly, I could be looking up the food labeling industry. Food labeling for industry. This is the old Guide to Food Labeling and Advertising. And I could be going through the industry labeling tool and making sure that if I need to do standard of identity or any additives, any labeling, this is a great jumping point for being able to make these things. So for example, I mentioned that I need to do an organic claim on my product. This is a great place that's going to cross-reference me to my claims as necessary. Is it 100% organic? Is it made with organic ingredients? And so on. So I'm looking for this comprehensive search, and if I was doing the made with organic ingredients, looking up relevant claims specific to what I want to do. This is the sort of thing that I should be quoting or referencing appropriately in my document. So here's what I found out about made with organic ingredients. If I want to go back, what if I wanted to do my protein claim? That would be a nutrition labeling issue. Or is it a nutrient content claim? Actually, as we're going through here, it is not under that tab. It is going to be under claims and statements, and that will be under composition, I believe. Oh, no, nutrient content. Nutrient content. So, for example, I wanted to make a protein claim. Here we go. I'm going to click on protein claims and identify exactly what are the regulatory requirements for me to be able to make a protein claim on my muffin. So again, here are my summary of my claims. Is it a source of protein? Excellent source of protein. And I can go through and do my regulatory check and reference the appropriate components necessary to be able to do this. As you know, all foods are subject to the Safe Food for Canadians Act, and so do make a general statement stating that our food will be prepared using preventative control program in an inspected facility. So, I'm going to describe my product. I'm going to identify if it's subject to standardization. So I have a chocolate chip muffin. It is not subject to standardization. I may or may not use a technical ingredient, and I'm going to find that in Division 16 of the Food and Drugs Regulations. And I do need to double check and make sure that Health Canada does not have a Safe Food for Canadians Act list of acceptable ingredients that are approved by Assent. Last but not least, any other health claims or compositional or traceability claims. So made in Canada of imported ingredients or things like that. Or is it halal or so on? How am I evaluating this? I would like to see a comprehensive description of regulatory considerations. I'm giving that additional 5 marks so that you are thinking about possible additional claims, organic, kosher, halal, low fat, or you name it. You think of something that's realistic. Think about the market demographic that you're selling to. And last but not least, make sure that it is clear and concise and useful to an external reader. So that may include things such as properly referencing any regulations that you are going to be quoting. Again, if I was an external end user, it's particularly useful if you are using web links to indicate those in your document so that me, as your actual external reader, can quickly cross-reference that you have done your research appropriately. Again, if you have any questions about this assignment, I look forward to speaking with you at your one-on-one sessions throughout the week. Take care, have fun reading the regulations.